YouTube, man, what's going on? It's LNH back with another vid, man, and we got some serious news to talk about, man. First of all, I gotta give you an update on the Dev in the Lab and Nick Briz situation. And on the other hand, Nick Briz is actually saying he revived the entire IRL basketball YouTube community. So let's break it down and get right into it, man. If you do like these type of vids, like the vid, sub to the channel, turn on those post notifications, but let's get right into it. Now, if you guys have not seen or not heard or have been living under a rock and didn't peep my recent video, there's actually, of course, a back and forth going on, a huge beef between Devinthelab, a popular YouTuber. He did the 10,000 hours series, has been around the internet for a minute now, and Nick Briz, who is new to the block and is doing these YouTube videos hitting about 1 million views per vid, where he's trash talking on parks outside and just going crazy on the basketball court. Now, with that being said, them two have had some serious beef very recently, and actually Devinthelab decided to call out Nick Briz, which was huge since Devinthelab is one of the biggest people in this basketball scene, and him having such a good stature and a good standing, a lot of people look at him and respect what he does. And then for him to actually go on Instagram Live and call out Nick Briz, everyone is wondering, where is Nick Briz's response? Now, it's funny because Nick Briz has honestly called out probably everyone in the basketball community right now, and even people outside. You have Duke Dennis, a huge Twitch streamer, and also he does his thing on YouTube, has been doing 2K for a minute now and been doing his thing. Called him out in the entire AMP group, another group on YouTube similar to 2Hype. He's called out, of course, Cash Nasty, Devontae Friga, all of these guys, T-Jazz, man, all of the top YouTubers in the community, he has called them out. But when this beef actually happens, this is the first time, in my opinion, that he has gone completely silent. Now, he has posted things on his Instagram, but none of them have been related to this 1v1 playing Devinthelab. And Devinthelab actually stated he wanted to play him for 100K, which is insane to me. But of course, he was even called out somebody like Flight Reacts as well and said he wanted to play him for 100K too, which in this case, if you're going to call another player out, but when somebody does actually call you out and is serious about it, wants to take your bread and run with it, and now you're afraid to respond, I think this for sure is going to make him take a hit in his character and really his entire brand, because all he's made on YouTube, really his entire career, is off of calling people out and making super exciting content, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, if someone calls you out and you're not able to back it up and go against them and you kind of brush it off, that just shows that you're really not about it, or not the same persona that you do put on the YouTube screen or on the internet as a whole. Now, Nick did eventually, of course, play Devontae Friga, and who won that game? Nick Briz's squad did win, but arguably, Devontae Friga did not have his normal team. He was playing with Cam Wilder and a couple other guys who were not the best that he's played with, so that's in his defense for sure. But at least Nick Briz did play Devontae Friga and caught that dub. But man, that's one game that he actually showed up to, but we still have not heard anything about him and Devinthelab. One thing that was reported on and people were saying was that Nick Briz actually stated that Dev was way too old and he shouldn't even be calling him out, which of course just shows you, of course, this is just for the cameras. You guys know by now, whatever people can do for clout and to get their bread up, that's what they're gonna do. And can I blame him? Honestly, I can't, but I would have liked to see him actually show up and try to play Dev and go back and forth, because in my opinion, even if he lost, at least he would have said and really would have went at another hooper who's actually super good. A lot of people are even complaining that the type of talent that Nick Briz has actually been playing in his parks is really not the best. Of course, you guys know we have not really seen Nick Briz play at some of the parks that even Devontae Friga has gone to, and that would be super interesting to see how the two compare at different parks and playing against super talented players. But a lot of people have been knocking the talent that Nick Briz does play. Now, I know for sure I'm not the only one who wouldn't mind seeing somebody like Devinthelab and also Devontae Friga team up to play against Nick Briz. With all the chatting that he's been doing, he really should have no problem going against these dudes. But again, it's just another situation when you get called out by somebody that's bigger and badder than you and really about it and wants to play for some money, and then you kind of back off and are afraid of that spotlight. It just clearly shows and makes you question and probably identifies the fact that Nick Briz knew he was going to lose the one-on-one. And of course, if you know you're going to lose, you're not going to put yourself in that type of situation. You guys let me know, what do you think about him actually not responding and staying pretty much silent, in my opinion? Now, on the other hand, of course, Nick Briz actually put out a very recent video stating that he was the one who's actually reviving the entire basketball community. But let's take a look at it.
He needs to thank us. We're doing everyone a favor. We're pumping life back into this community. We're pumping life back in it. Look at the numbers look at the numbers post us. We have brought a new wave of life and a new career respark to the reactors, to the community as a whole. The old news, the old creators are done. It's the fucking new wave, mother.
Now, I think Nick Briz honestly does have a point in this situation because of one thing. Now, definitely there are not a lot of YouTubers who can hit 1 million views per vid very consistently unless you've been around the community for a minute now or your content is just off the walls. And especially in this basketball community, you guys have known we've seen a ton of people come through here, but honestly, we've never seen something like this where someone is so able to convey, and really everyone is talking about Nick Briz or his entire situation. Even if you call him overrated or you don't think he's that good, maybe you'll say his jump shot is trash. At the end of the day, you can't say that he is not bringing numbers and eyes to the basketball community for sure. Now, if these are for the right or wrong reasons, that's definitely another conversation, because some people would argue the fact that he's only bringing eyes because of people fighting on the basketball court, and not really just because they want to see Nick Briz, but they want to see who his team is going to get involved with, who they're going to talk trash to, for sure is another part of it. Now, on the other hand, some people are saying that Nick Briz is just basically riding the wave of Devontae Freega. And in my opinion, you guys know, I think a couple of these guys, even T-Jazz at one point, I think really had a strong run with playing at the park. And then Devontae Freega kind of took over the space, was the new guy for a minute now, but he was super positive in what he did. And I think he brought a lot of loyal fans to the community. But once this kind of transition and Nick Briz came, in my opinion, out of nowhere, I didn't even know about him previously that long ago. Once he came out and started doing his thing on the court, he definitely took the attention of the entire community by storm. Now, the professor, as well as another hooper who's been doing his thing, and even Cash Nasty and Flight have been doing IRL content for a minute now, but for sure, I don't think their content is even comparable to somebody like Nick Briz. Although Cash definitely does talk a little bit of trash, I think Nick just brought it to another level where people really want to see and even question if his content is real or not, based off the type of interactions that he is having in these games. Now, I think everyone knows by now, just because you get clout at one point and get your numbers up does not always mean that you'll continue to do this in the future. And I think that's what's going to be the most interesting part about Nick Briz's entire YouTube career here. He is pulling views now for sure and has the eyes of the entire community, but he's actually going to be able to sustain this long term. And I think that's the better question, because somebody like Freega, in my opinion, or other people who focus on a little bit more of the positive aspect, I think they're able to regard and retain some of these fans just because they mess with who they are as a person. Where on the other hand, people just look at his content and Nick Briz's content more for about what he provides. But at the end of the day, it's super exciting to watch as well. And that's why some people even want to call it fake. And I'm curious, do you guys think it's fake or not? Let me know in the comments down below. But what do you think about this entire Nick Briz situation? It definitely has a ton of layers for sure. Do you think Nick Briz is exploiting this entire community, or is he just doing his thing on the court and people are just trying to call him out for playing the game of basketball? Let me know in the comments down below, as well as what do you think about Nick not actually responding to Devinthelab? Do you think he ever will respond? Drop it in the comments down below. Make sure you like the vid, sub to the channel, turn on post notifications, get a notification every time I upload a new video. LNH, I'm out.